senators, and representatives, I have the distinguished honor of presenting the President of the United States.
My fellow Americans, I stand before you tonight to report that the state of our union is strong.
Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation.
The American dream endures. We must once again have full faith in our country and in one another.
Never before, since Jamestown and Plymouth Rock, has our American civilization been in such danger as now.
There's a lot of talk about danger, as if we really are in terrible, lethal danger here in America, in our cities, of being bombed, of having nuclear weapons or chemical weapons aimed at them. But really, you know, these people don't have that kind of facility. There's no one who can do that with the force field around us. It's not true. There should not be this talk as though it were likely that we would be bombed with chemical weapons in our cities. That is just warmongering, fear-mongering, and it's absolutely not true.
But they cannot dent the steel of American resolve.
With the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us God.
This is not about victory and triumph. There is no triumph over any nation and over terrorism. Terrorism has existed since the year dot. British know all about terrorism, and there was no triumph over terrorism other than that we had to talk to terrorists, that we had to forget that they killed the Lord Louis Mountbatten and tried to kill Maggie Thatcher, and we had to talk to them. And many of those terrorists were supported financially by romantic ideology and collections here in New York. There was no triumph over that factor, but it just became out of favor to be a terrorist after 9/11, and thank God that that one good thing came out of 9/11, that there was a cessation of bombing that was taking place in my London, and I saw a lot of it, and thankfully it's not the IRA bombing in London with bombs paid for through collections in New York pubs.
Of liberty, I believe that I interpret the will of the Congress and of the people when I assert that we will not only defend ourselves to the uttermost, but will make it very certain that this form of treachery shall never again endanger us.
The problem with this somewhat jingoistic message given by an ex-president are not really relevant to today's situation at all, but for sure no one wants the repeat of 9/11, but going into a country that had nothing to do with 9/11 and bombing dustbowl nations like Afghanistan and Iraq and even Iran that don't have the same kind of facility doesn't prove anything, and it doesn't look good to the world. The fact is that having this supersonic technology against a country without an early warning system, without air raid shelters, and without any defense of this high technology bombs and missiles, it does anything but. It just creates even further hatred by the Muslims of the brutality of the Western powers, and we are doing it all wrong when we seek to prove to people by bombing them to bits in dust bowls while the world looks on and thinks of the Roman Empire and is disgusted. We need to be disgusted as well, Americans.
We have done what we had to do. He counted on America to be passive. He counted wrong. Thank you. Good night. And God bless America. 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 America.
This soundtrack is part of a CD that was put out right after 9/11. It's a collection of songs, The Pledge of Allegiance, America the Beautiful, all the songs that you expect, Amazing Grace, God Bless America, Made in the USA, the American Trilogy, The Star Spangled Banner. It's a very nice CD, very patriotic, etc. But the only issue I have with it is that there in the last part there you've got planes and bombs exploding as we send a message to the world of our superiority in the war sense, that we've got these missiles and drones that we can send over people's over the nations that don't even risk the lives of pilots, while these people live in dust bowls without electricity, most of the time without clean water, in fear of their lives, with no air force defending their country, and we attack them. We call it insurgency, but I remember very much that the French resistance would be such a similar thing. They call anyone who helps out the Western nations as collaborators, and there'll be people from Iraq who hate having a superpower in their country, with tanks rolling through their country, just as it was in Paris. It makes no difference. It's an invasion, it's occupancy, and the bulk of the nation don't want it. And you know, we call them insurgents. As I say, they are the free fighting force, the resistance to collaboration, the resistance to invasion, the resistance to occupation. Until we stop occupying that nation, we can't see just who the enemy is. We can't see stability. Al-Qaeda might be backing up that resistance, and Osama bin Laden might be fortifying it, as might be Iran, Syria, Jordan. You don't know who's helping them, because they're all Arab nations, and they must hate a Western superpower being there occupying an Arab nation in the Middle East. And they have a hatred for our bias, the bias that we have shown in the treatment of Palestinians by our allies, with their superpower, with their masses of nuclear armaments, with their ability to send gunships in to kill people in taxis. They killed in one case someone they didn't like, who was in a wheelchair in a taxi using a gunship and a missile. You know, and we wonder why the world objects, and wonder why what their beef is about the fact that we've got this technology and we're going to use it. We're going to damn well use it to punish anyone who opposes us. And right now it's a case of revenge, revenge, revenge is how it must seem to the rest of the world, and that has got to stop.